Welcome back to the Builder's Bench. I'm Craig Larkins. Today, we're talking all things AI. It's everywhere on LinkedIn, conferences, and every software pitch that you're getting in your inbox nowadays. Construction is hearing it from all sides, promises, warnings, buzzwords. But what's real? What's hype? Or are we just echoing each other and making a lot of noise? So today, to cut through all that noise, please welcome me and joining to the bench, Nimrat Pahwa, Enterprise Solutions Specialist AI at Procore. That's quite the fun title. Welcome to the bench, Nimrat.
Thank you so much, Craig, and thank you for having me. And I know that title is long and big, but I swear I don't think of myself as an AI person. I always think of myself as a construction person who happens to work with AI.
Because you have a background in construction, correct?
That is correct. I spent 7 years in construction. So, that is one question that I always address. How do we make projects run better? And how do we use technology to make people's lives better? And that's why I'm AI today.
So you just did it. You touched on it, but let's just give a quick introduction to our listeners, your background and why we're having this conversation today.
I think I've already kind of touched upon it that throughout my construction career of 7 years, I have always thought that the aim for technology should be to improve the lives of people that exist in it because they are very near and dear to me. I have got some best of friends in the industry. And that question has shaped every decision since I have actually started thinking about it. It led to me completing my MBA in Operation Management and Information System and immerse myself in AI strategy, agentic workflows, and construction technology. And ultimately to where I am today, which is Enterprise Solutions Specialist AI at Procore. But the more I have learned about AI, the more I have realized that the biggest opportunity in construction isn't actually AI. It is data continuity. Construction doesn't have a shortage of technology. We have point solutions which are a dime a dozen. We have ERPs, project management, scheduling, BIM, so on and so forth. And I believe that what we need is information to flow seamlessly through them. And that's the lens that I bring to every conversation. I don't start with AI. I start with information breaking down and how can combine it all together and how, as a specialist in the construction world in AI, I can make a meaningful impact through that. So that's me.
Nice. Perfectly put, perfectly said. So yeah, the whole point is we're going to bring all of that together in these conversations that we'll be having. So we should mention this will be a new series that will be on the podcast. It's a construction's AI reality check of sorts. We'll be breaking down a couple more episodes in the future and then doing a somewhat monthly check on AI because it's ever evolving. So I'm excited for so many conversations, but I wanted to start with a kind of a simple question about where we're at. So when you hear your colleagues and peers in the industry talking about AI, is it excitement? Is it fear? Is it confusion? What is that conversation right now?
Oh, it's a mixed bag. I think it really depends upon the kind of maturity that an organization is at. So if you have a mature organization which is already at that place where it's figured out all its operations, all its workflows, then they start with, we have implemented this part of AI and we want to go to the next level. And then we have other organizations, which I call, they are in the chaotic phase where they first need to automate it. You know what I'm talking about? I think
Yes.
everybody in construction knows about that. They only work through Excels and they still have the yellow sheets where they're inputting their data in and doing their daily logs. For them, that becomes a different conversation altogether. So I believe that looks different for different organizations. There is a fear factor that it'll probably take away the jobs. And I always bring it in saying that the aim of AI is not to take away your jobs. It is to make sure that you have work that can be done in an automated fashion so you have life outside work.
You just gave me the perfect segue. So thank you for that. In our prep call, you said a term that I have been saying ever since, and I do give you credit for it as well. Construction is a human-heavy operational industry. And I was just reading a study yesterday about, there's always the conversation of what jobs are safe. We're still in that mode of operation. And construction was one on the list that is safe. Yeah. So where does construction sit in that realm of that conversation? Can you reassure us or can you just give us some insight into what you're feeling in that? Is construction safe from AI when we're talking jobs?
So that's, I address that question on a daily basis. And I always say that right now, if you're looking at the statistics, within 2020, in the year of 2026, we have a shortage of 499,000 people when it comes to labor. That's a huge number. So when people say that we fear our jobs, remember, we need more people.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a good point.
I don't think that your job is in jeopardy right now.
Yeah.
The aim is how do we address that gap, the 499,000 gap?
Yeah.
The reason why that gap exists is because today, when we talk about a superintendent or a foreman who is doing a certain job, half the time he's picking up the call 20 times and trying to figure out where that information is. And then the rest of the time, he's ensuring that work gets done right. And the rest of the time is ensuring that it is safe and it does not have any risk. And we ensure that the workers who are on site are performing their job well. Now, this is taking 3 to 4 hours in a day. How do we address that? How do we address that gap? And that's where AI comes in. Your jobs are safe. AI is supposed to be leveraged for you to go ahead and make your work easier, less manual, reduce those decisioning bottlenecks, ensure that those repeated workflows that you do on a daily basis gets taken care of. And that's where we're at.
This is a nice, again, segue into, so I do have a list of questions that I want to dive into. So we've touched on just kind of the lead into the series and the don't be scared of AI, embrace it kind of conversation. What are the biggest misconceptions that you hear related to industry and AI?
Wow. And I think that's probably a wrong question. Not misconceptions, I would say.
Yeah.
It should be, what are like these predetermined mindsets that people have in
human behavior. Let me rephrase that. Okay.
I would say that because, usually when I talk to clients, the first thing that they will say is, well, we want AI. And that is such a loaded question. Sometimes I want to feel like, how you are in a black market and you open your jacket and saying, I have AI package 1, I have AI package 2. Which one would you? That's not how it works.
Yeah.
And when they say we want AI, the first step in their thought process should be, how do we roll out AI? The biggest misconception is thinking that if they have AI, their life will get better, their organizations will grow, they'll be more profitable. But I think that's backwards. The biggest challenge in construction today is not AI, it is adoption. If you try implementing AI across an entire organization before proving value, you will probably create resistance instead of excitement. I would start small. Find one repetitive workflow, submittals, RFIs, drawing revisions. Take something as simple as that. And when today someone notices it, someone emails procurement, those are the jobs that you start addressing. What it does is that the project manager spends time making decisions instead of chasing information. And that's why I think AI adoption succeeds one workflow at a time. So the misconception that I want to apply AI to the whole organization needs to be narrowed down, that these are the 3 workflows that I have. Let's automate it and see how we can succeed thereafter.
So instead of getting the cart before the horse or just rushing into this wave of AI that we keep hearing about and reading about, just take a step back and look at taking baby steps with this process, right?
Exactly. Bang on.
I love that idea. It calms me down as well. What was the stat we talked about as well? You had mentioned in our prep call, there's 2 billion people are already using AI in the form of ChatGPT. Do you want to touch on that quickly before I get into my next question?
Sure, absolutely. And this is also in relation to AI adoption, which is, I think, the other side of the spectrum. When we talk about adoption, the other misconception that people have is that if we do implement AI, it will not be adopted by my team.
Yeah.
And the reason why that is a thought process is because they're like, oh, you know what? We had so-and-so software product that we implemented and that adoption took 6 months and now AI is going to do the same.
Yeah.
That whole statistic has changed because in the world that we live in today, over the past 2 years, 20% of the world population is using ChatGPT and Claude and the generic LLMs, which is close to 2 billion people. That means boots on the ground are using those LLMs. They are not looking for search anymore. They are looking for solutions.
Yep.
They are primed for it. So if you can get your processes in place, then the world is your oyster and the sky is the limit because the team will adopt quicker and faster than you expect.
And we will dive into more of those conversations as we continue this conversation in future episodes. I did want to touch on, VRCA has 1,000+ member companies right across the Lower Mainland. Majority are the smaller companies. So can you give three examples that, like, say a GC or a trade, I don't know, not just examples, but maybe products or uses that a smaller business could start with right now? One or two or three,
Perfect.
or
I think,
or something that you've heard that has worked for smaller businesses.
wow. Yeah, I think that's a great question. And I think I have like probably 20 examples. But I don't
What are
think
your top five?
I don't think the podcast is long enough for
All
that.
right, we could
I
dive
think
into another episode.
I'm gonna start with the biggest use case. And
Yeah.
the reason why I say the biggest use case is one which is like deep search. Because when I talk about deep search, I'm talking about how there is a statistic again which says that 18% of time lost on any construction project is searching for information. So if you're putting it in number of days, out of 5 days that you're working, 1 day is lost just looking for information. So I think one of the biggest use case that I've come across is just having all your project data under one roof
Yeah.
and ensuring that a boots on the ground, a superintendent, uh, executive, an executive in an office has the capability to go into that project and ask any question and get the response that they want
Yeah.
without having to spend hours on it.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest, I would say, use case that I see has the maximum potential to begin with.
And that's baby steps in itself right there, is just taking on one kind of project, whether it's office based or job site based. So that's interesting as well. So follow up to that question, a lot of people are hesitant, scared. AI is just everywhere. I was saying, we're talking about it at conferences. It's all over social media. If you are a construction leader listening to the podcast, if you're a CA member and haven't really done anything with AI yet, where should you start?
I always say that the first step to starting about understanding where AI should be is figuring out your own maturity curve.
Okay.
And when I talk about the maturity curve, I am talking about, do you think your organization is primed for AI? That's the first step. Everybody thinks that you should just apply AI, but AI cannot just be applied. Intelligence is only as smart as your workflows and data. So first you need to figure out, does your organization actually have standardized workflows where you can apply AI? And if you don't, what is the process? And that process is what they should be thinking about. Identifying repeated workflows, unifying their data.
Yeah.
Figuring out the transparent workflows that currently they should be having. What is the transparency of a certain workflow and process?
Yeah.
And then once they have all of this, create an intelligence and then standardize it. If they can do all of these 5 things, reaching that standardization format where they know their organization in and out, then I say start thinking about AI. Then bring in these functions in.
It's interesting, the common theme that I keep getting from just even this conversation is looking within before jumping in to that. Look within your organization to see where you can implement, as opposed to just everybody has it, so I have to get it.
Yes, exactly.
That seems to be the mentality right now. All right. So looking ahead, a year or two, say we have these new leaders, everyone's looking into their company, preparing themselves for future. I mean, AI is changing on the daily. What should construction companies, aka leaders, supervisors, be paying attention to now? And I mean, it is ever evolving, but so that they don't get left behind in the future.
Oh, wow. I love this question. And
it's probably going to change by next week because everything's changing.
That is so true. But I think the thing that they should be cognizant of, and I say that with all respect, is that don't rush towards that AI gold rush. I know everybody is wanting AI, but when you think about AI, the first step should be, as I already mentioned, operationalizing your own processes, but also ensuring that you have an open and flexible mind. Because with the way that AI is changing, any leader who has the capacity to have, and I call it like the 3-bone philosophy. And let me explain the 3-bone philosophy. So the first thing is a wishbone. And when I talk about the wishbone in terms of AI is have like a North Star, have a vision, educate yourself, understand what exists in the market, and have a vision of what the future would look like for your organization through AI. And if you don't know that, consult people like me and other people around you so you get educated about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then go to the second part, the second bone, I call it the backbone. The reason why I say the second part, the backbone, is that once you have a North Star, then you have to start building a team, an implementation plan. And you have to have the backbone to stand up to your vision, stand up to your team, and ensure that you're following a certain strategy towards that North Star. And slowly yet surely move towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once again, once you have that second bone achieved, then comes the third bone, which is the most important bone, which is the funny bone. Because in life, what is living if you don't have a sense of humor?
Yeah.
So while you're doing all of this, it's important to, maintain that semblance of, I am not getting left behind.
Mm-hmm.
I need to ensure that, we reach a place where we start seeing small gains. And all through this journey, we got to enjoy it. We got to enjoy that process of reaching that destination of ultimate AI success.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if these three things are taken care of, then they are well prepared for the future. And that's all they need to think of.
Take a step back, take a deep breath, and just look for your Northern Star. Start planning for it. I love that. It's so calming to hear because we all just get this intense, should we be doing AI? So it gets a bit overwhelming. Any final remarks? I think our next episode, I really like what we touched on today, but I think the next one, we're going to look to the future. We had discussed kind of an approach of a day in the life of a project team in 2030, which is not that far away, but it seems like it is. So any final remarks before we wrap things up, Nimrat?
I think my only final remark would be that, think of AI as a system of your data continuity. Construction does not lack in technology. We have enough and more systems.
Mm-hmm.
All it lacks is in connecting those data points together. So think of AI as a way of making your life easier, bringing in and combining the successes that you need. And eventually you get the life that you deserve to live through automating your processes by AI. That's all.
I love it.
Yeah.
I think this was a great first conversation of many, of kind of an introduction of where we're going to go with these conversations. Thank you for taking a seat on the bench today with me, Nimrat. You can find past episodes of The Builder's Bench on the VRCA website. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and invite your colleagues to take a seat on the bench with us. I'm Craig Larkins, and this is The Builder's Bench.